Hey everybody, so I'm really sorry that I missed last week of posting for you all. I was really swamped with work and I also have my boyfriend in visiting and I just kind of got sidetracked and completely didn't have any time to do this. So I will be making up for it today. I actually have a very long day, which is why I'm shooting this early in the morning. And I just got through packing my gym bag, which is what I do every morning, so that way I make myself go to the gym right after work. So this week we are talking about symptoms that led to us seeking a diagnosis. With PCOS, everybody has different symptoms. There are some symptoms that are universal for everyone who has it, and then there are different ones. For me personally, I went away to college weighing 153 pounds. Which was about my average weight all through high school and all through my first 2 years at community college. There was never any real weight gain. And then when I went away to college, I was eating college food, but I was still working out every day. I played Division II fast pitch softball, so I was working out. And I didn't eat completely unhealthy, but there was drinking, so I did account for some of my weight gain to be from those things. But then by the time I was leaving college, I had gone from weighing 153 to like 265, which obviously, big leap. And I kept coming home in between when I first went to college and graduating, and I kept telling my doctor, I feel like something's wrong. I keep having all this weight gain, and I wasn't sleeping, and I was having pelvic pain, and I was never getting a period. And all through high school when I didn't have one, everyone kept telling me, oh, it's because you're an athlete. Girl athletes don't get their periods. That's just the norm. So when I still wasn't getting it through college, I thought maybe, okay, I'm just going to be one of those girls who doesn't get a period. I was also at the time very anti-birth control because I was taking a women's health class and I had a professor telling me that, birth control, it does cause changes in your body and it does produce an unnatural period, etc. I went to a women's college, so we had very different views about birth control and what it does to the body. And then I started getting the hair and on my neck and my legs, and that was when I was like, okay, something's wrong. Like, this is obviously a hormone issue because, hello, girls usually don't grow male hair the same way. So I finally went to my doctor after I was emailing with this woman who was living in Portland. I'm not going to disclose her name, but I was emailing back and forth with her, telling her, like, here's what's going on. I'm reading your blog about something called PCOS. I've never heard of it. Like, what were the symptoms? And she told me exactly what tests I needed to get when I went in to talk to my doctor. She said, ask for these, demand them, do whatever you need to do to get them done. And that's what I did. I went into my doctor and I said, listen, I want you to run a glucose test. I want you to check my THC. I want you to check all these things, my LSH, my FSH, etc. And then they ran the test and everything came back sky high. I had my doctor telling me that I had one of the highest testosterone levels on the planet, which all of a sudden really started making sense with my aggressive tendencies. And, this was three general doctors that I had, telling me that it wasn't a big deal, that these are normal things that girls' bodies go through, that eventually, it'll all work out, etc., etc. And I finally went to this doctor, this OBGYN and fertility specialist in my town, and she diagnosed it originally. Of course, she had way too many people coming to her for fertility issues, so I got rerouted to another woman who is a, PCOS specialist, and she put me on meds, right away pretty much after all my tests came back and told me, the number one thing to help with PCOS is losing weight. And so that day, this was, the summer of 2010 when I finally got all these tests back and finally met with her and had the sonogram, which is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever been through. I'm still not a big fan of that. And my ovaries didn't have any cyst, but my vaginal lining was a little bit thicker than it's supposed to be. And I had all the classic markers according to her, except for the hair loss. That was the one thing that I did not get blessed with, and I thank God every day that I didn't, because I have all the other symptoms, and it's been hard enough dealing with those. And So the day that she told me, you may not be able to have kids, this is always going to be an issue in your life, etc. For first 2 weeks, I was kind of like, okay, well, what's the point of fighting it if I'm always going to have it? Like, I might as well just let it run its course and do its thing. And then I started reading all the science behind it, because that's what I do. When I need to know things, I just sit down and I just pour into books. So I started reading all the science stuff behind it, and I started reading that it leads to diabetes, and that it leads to heart disease, and it leads to, all these other horrible things. And I got pissed. I mean, I just woke up angry as shit one day, and I was like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me versus happening to my sister? Or why didn't my mother have this? And they're telling me it's genetic, and yet I can't find any woman in my family who's had it. Or maybe they just don't want to talk about it, whatever, but I couldn't find any reason why this was happening to me and not happening to somebody else. Like, I have friends who do drugs on the regular basis and they're not getting a disease, and I have lived pretty healthy my entire life, and now I have something that makes me not healthy and not to my, fullest. And then the anger set in, and, I was at field school for archaeology, and I was working out 8 hours a day because I was lifting dirt, and I was running up and down stairs, and, I was pretty much sweating nonstop all day, and, I somehow managed to do that even being 260 something pounds, so that to me said I could do whatever I wanted to do if I was going to do anything about it. And after all the anger, really set in and sunk in for me, I was mad. I was mad at women's healthcare. I was mad that, my doctors didn't catch it earlier. I was mad that I knew something was wrong and I wasn't advocating for myself enough to have somebody check me. And, that's really what, got me motivated. And I started working out. I started out with a trainer every day for 2 months, and then I moved to just working out 2 hours a day by myself. And I have had to be super vigilant about it. I mean, it's almost like PCOS eating disorder, because I can't, started counting calories and watching everything that I ate, because this was the one thing I was told that would, cure my symptoms. And here I am 2 years later and 75 pounds later, and I still, if I did not use Vanica on my face, could probably grow a better beard than my boyfriend. If I skip 3 days of the gym, I gain, 5 pounds regardless. And metformin makes me, some days feel okay. Other days, I just want to lay in my bed in the fetal position and not move. And spironolactone is supposed to control my androgen producing hormone. I can't say that it's doing it or not doing it. And this disease is different for everybody. Like, for me, I feel, like I am intersex to a point, because I have more male hormones than female hormones, and it really does a head trip with you when you have a body that looks one way but it's doing something else that you didn't expect it to do. And it's very nerve-wracking, and it's very unacceptable by society to be a woman who weighs, over a certain weight and who can grow a beard, or, who has to be on birth control. I mean, a lot of women on PCOS take birth control because we, are trying to keep cyst at bay, or are trying to, be regular. And now we have a government telling us that they're gonna fucking control our birth control. So it's like, not everybody is using it to have rampant sex. And even if they are, whose business is it? But now I have somebody possibly telling me that it's going to be illegal for me to have birth control to treat a disease. And so now my anger's back. I got that kind of curbed for a little while. But now I'm mad that Planned Parenthood funding is being, taken away, because those people do a lot more than just abortion. They help diagnose a lot of PCOS for people who can't afford to go to the doctor, which I'm now in that bracket. PCOS is an expensive disease. We have to take extra vitamins. We have expensive medications. I mean, I just paid $82 to keep myself from getting a beard. $82. That's a month. All right. So, I think a lot of it is we got to get more outraged on behalf of women with PCOS, or women with any kind of cervical disease, or any kind of hormone imbalance, because, it's sort of a silent killer. Nobody really pays attention to it. It's all about the breast cancer, which is great. I'm glad we at least, kind of get some, notice for that. But there's so much more stuff tied in with this, and, And the first step is getting your diagnosis. I mean, you got to fight for yourself, because doctors do not want to spend any more time with you than they have to, because they need to earn another copay. And it's unfortunate that that's how the healthcare works, that I have to pay $40 for a 20-minute visit where no one wants to listen to me and no one wants to hear what I think about my symptoms. And, for girls who are younger who think they have it, I mean, luckily you have parents. I'm hoping your parents are going to be in there advocating for you and telling the doctor what they think it is or what they want to be done. My mom just thought I was drinking and eating too much and whatever. And yes, I'm sure that factored in during that time period, but it still didn't explain the excessive weight gain. And that was the one thing that I really looked for. Now, I know there are PCOS girls who don't have the weight gain, who are thin and don't have that issue, and that's great. Doesn't mean you're healthy. So you still, if you feel like anything's off, you still need to get checked, regardless of the fact that you don't have the weight as one of the main symptoms. You got to start looking for the secondary stuff, and that's really all I have to say about that. And I hope this helped a little bit. For a more detailed list of symptoms, I mean, I definitely spent a lot of time trolling the internet, looking up for other stuff. I looked at endometriosis, I looked at Crohn's disease, I looked at numerous hormonal disorders, and sometimes I still think maybe I have one of those, or I have that in conjunction to my PCOS. It's really hard to say, but do your research. You get in somebody's face about what you need to get done. Take care of yourself, because that's the only way that women's health is actually gonna do anything. And that's all I have today, so I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.